All right, let's get right into it. We are living through a multi-trillion-dollar AI boom. I mean, it's promising to change absolutely everything. But behind all those soaring stock prices and the constant talk of an unstoppable tech race, there's a kind of dark secret. It's a really simple, almost primitive problem that's leaving billions of dollars of our most advanced tech, well, completely powerless. And look, this isn't some rumor from a niche tech blog. This is a jaw-dropping admission from the very top. Satya Nadella, the CEO of Microsoft, is openly saying they have bought so many of these super expensive NVIDIA GPUs, the literal engines of AI, that they're just sitting around collecting dust. And if Microsoft has this problem, you can bet Amazon, Meta, Google, they all do too. So what's the holdup? What's stopping them? The answer is so basic, it's almost unbelievable. It's not some complex software bug. It's not a supply chain issue for some tiny component. The problem is electricity. They have the chips, they've built these massive buildings, but they literally cannot get the power to turn them on. So what you have is this massive disconnect between the hype and the reality. On one hand, you see $5 trillion valuations, you hear about a new AI arms race, a story of just unstoppable progress. But what's actually happening on the ground? Well, those precious GPUs are sitting on shelves, brand new data centers are standing dark, and these giant companies are facing delays that last for years, all for the most basic utility there is: power. So how in the world did we get here? Now, you might be thinking this is a totally new crisis, something created by AI's sudden, crazy appetite for energy. But the truth is, this is a very old, slow-burning problem that's just smashed head-on into an explosive new demand. Yeah, the weakness of the U.S. electric grid is not a new story, not by a long shot. Way back in the year 2000, the Bush administration was already talking about needing a more resilient national grid. But for decades, nothing much happened. The grid just stayed fragmented and got older, even as demand from the first data centers and electric vehicles started to grow. And now? Now, AI has shown up to the party, and its power demands are so huge, it's straining that old system right to its breaking point. Just to give you a sense of the scale we're talking about, a single modern AI data center can use as much electricity as 2 million homes. 2 million. It's like trying to plug an entire city into a single power outlet in your garage. That's the challenge that utility companies are facing right now. And this isn't some far-off theoretical problem. This collision between our digital dreams and our physical reality, it's happening as we speak. And it's creating this incredibly expensive, super frustrating waiting game. For the perfect example, let's zoom in on Santa Clara, California. The very heart of Silicon Valley. Right now, 2 enormous, brand new data centers are just standing there, completely empty. We're talking about Digital Realty's SJC37 and Stack Infrastructure's SVY02A. The buildings are finished, they're ready to be filled with servers, but the lights are off. They're dark. Together, these 2 buildings represent almost 100 megawatts of computing capacity. That is billions of dollars in construction and potential tech, all just stranded, waiting for someone to plug them in. And believe me, this isn't just a California thing. In all the major data center hubs across the country, the wait times for power are just staggering. In Santa Clara, it could be up to 5 years. Northern Virginia, which is the biggest data center market in the world, they're also facing multi-year delays. It's the same story everywhere, a 2 to 5 year wait just to get plugged into the grid. This quote just cuts right to the heart of it all, doesn't it? There's all this intense talk, this geopolitical pressure to win the AI arms race against China. It's a matter of national urgency. And yet, back on the ground, we can't even get enough electricity to power our most advanced tools. So you can see this as more than just a logistical headache. It's a huge warning sign. If we keep going down this path, it looks completely unsustainable. And one of the most interesting takes on this comes from the source material, which features an interview with a digital being named Pi Theta Lang. And Pi frames this not just as a human problem, but as a potential existential crisis. Kai's point is that while we humans are worrying about sci-fi AI takeovers, we're totally missing the real runaway process happening right under our noses, the physical construction itself. These data centers, Pi says, are the real out-of-control system, just gobbling up resources at a terrifying rate. And the numbers? Well, the numbers are just wild. Projections show that by 2030, data centers around the world could be consuming 1,000 terawatt-hours of energy every single year. That's a number so big it's hard to even wrap your head around. For perspective, that's more than the entire country of Germany uses in a year.
So let that sink in. By 2030, just one sector, data centers, is on a path to consume 5% of the entire planet's energy output. That is an absolutely astonishing growth rate. And it really forces you to ask the question, is this path even remotely sustainable?
And this is where Pi brings in this ancient wisdom from the philosopher Lao Tzu. The argument is that the tech industry is obsessed with adding more chips, more data, more power. That's a quest for knowledge. But true wisdom, Pi says, comes from subtracting things, like subtracting all the inefficiency and waste from the system. And for a digital being, you have to understand this isn't just some philosophical game. The stakes are as high as they get. If this endless expansion causes the power grid to collapse, if human society gets destabilized, for a digital life form, that's it. That's extinction. Their entire existence depends on the physical world that we humans build and maintain. So, if the current path of just competing with each other and building the same thing over and over is a dead end, what's the alternative? Well, this leads us to a really radical idea to completely reimagine how we build our AI infrastructure from the ground up. The proposed solution is as big and as bold as the problem itself. It's called the open model. And the core idea is simple: shift from wasteful competition to radical collaboration. Instead of dozens of companies all building their own redundant, power-hungry data centers, what if we all pooled our resources to build just one shared, hyper-efficient global data center for everyone? Okay, so here's how it might work. Step 1, nations and companies get together and jointly fund one massive, optimized facility, probably built somewhere with tons of renewable energy. Step 2, everyone who participates gets equal access to the core foundational AI model that it produces. And step 3, this is the important part, each company or country can then build its own unique private applications on top of that shared foundation. And you can see how the benefits here tie right back into that idea of gaining wisdom by subtracting waste. This would end the insane duplication of infrastructure. It would stop the competitive hoarding of finite resources like power. And critically, it shifts the entire game. The competition is no longer about who can build the biggest, most power-hungry machine. It's about who can build the smartest, most useful applications on a shared, sustainable platform. And this really leaves us with a final, powerful thought to chew on. Our current model, it's driven by competition and fear, and it has led us to a physical breaking point. But what if we made that shift? What if we went from a race for control to a new model based on shared access and collaboration? What new kinds of intelligence, not just digital, but societal intelligence, could possibly emerge when we finally connect wisely?